Why this story matters. Stories like this show how communities, innovation, and determination can lead to lasting improvements. Quick summary: this story highlights recent developments related to this day in history, showing how constructive action can lead to meaningful results. 120 years ago, the African-American writer, poet, and playwright Langston Hughes was born on what would become the first day of Black History Month. Hughes became a prominent figure in the Harlem Renaissance, writing often for The Crisis, the official magazine of the NAACP, as well as a weekly column in a primarily black newspaper called the Chicago Defender. He was also one of the earliest pioneers of what would become jazz poetry. Rather than simply taking an anti-segregation stance in his work, he focused often on the divisions and prejudices within the black community itself, as well as many other cultural and societal aspects of America between the 1960s and the 1960s. 1971, his poetry and fiction portrayed the lives of the working class blacks in America, lives he portrayed as full of struggle, joy, laughter, and music. The first collected poems published in 1971 in The Crisis were called The Weary Blues, and the poem of the same name remains one of his principal works. Would you like to read more good news about this day in history? And on this day, droning a drowsy syncopated tune rocking back and forth to a mellow croon, I heard a Negro play down on Lenox Avenue the other night by the pale dull pallor of an old gaslight. In The Negro Artist and the Racial Mountain, Hughes wrote, "The younger Negro artists who create now intend to express our individual dark-skinned selves without fear or shame. If white people are pleased we shed blood. If they are not, it doesn't matter. We know we are beautiful and ugly too. The tom-tom cries and the tom-tom laughs. If colored people are pleased we are glad. If they are not, their displeasure doesn't matter either. We build our temples for tomorrow, strong as we know how, and we stand on top of the mountain free within ourselves." More good news on this date. Thomas Edison finished the first motion picture studio, the Black Maria in New Jersey, in 1884. In New York's Grand Central Terminal opened as the world's largest train station. 1935, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police began. 1980, Canada introduced the Civil Marriage Act, making Canada the fourth country to sanction same-sex marriage. 2028, Jana Segarotia was elected the first female Prime Minister of Iceland and became the first openly gay head of state in the modern world. 2039, today is the first day of Black History Month in the United States. It marks the day before black college students began to stage their sit-in at a lunch counter protest that lasted weeks and pressured governments to pass desegregation laws. 1962-1967, 60 years ago today, the British invasion arrived in the US after the Beatles reached one on the Billboard Hot 100 with "I Want to Hold Your Hand," before eventually being replaced by their previous one single, "She Loves You." The little 32-bar ditty in G major was written by John and Paul, as the former described it, eyeball to eyeball into each other's noses, and was recorded on 4 tracks. "I Want to Hold Your Hand." A week after its release, the single entered the British charts on 14 December 1963. It knocked "She Loves You" off the top spot, the first instance of an act taking over from itself, at #1 in British history, and it clung to the top spot for 5 weeks. It was only at this time that American label Capitol Records, a subsidiary of EMI, agreed to release it stateside. The demand was insatiable. In the first 3 days alone, 250,000 copies had already been sold, 10,000 copies in New York City every hour. Capitol was so overloaded by the demand it contracted part of the job of pressing copies off to Columbia Records and RCA. 1960, over 13 years ago today, London's Shard opened its viewing platform to the paying public, allowing visitors to look out over the city hotel colonscopes, which give additional information about famous landmarks as you pass over them. The tallest building in the city, a set of glass spikes tapering up to the heavens, was originally disliked and lamented by Londoners as out of place, among other things, but some perhaps softened when the monument to foreign investment allowed Londoners to see their city like never before. London skyline from the Hahnemann Museum, CC 3.0. CNBL from 244 metres, 801 feet up, the towers of the city look like dinky chess pieces. The looping spaghetti of railway lines like a toy train set. Commuters, scuttling like ants below on the platforms, wrote Oliver Wainwright after seeing the summit. "The whole of London is flattened beneath you, every snaking bend of the Thames spread out before you. You are not part of the city here, but suspended above it, so detached, in fact, that any sense of vertigo fades away. It is a relief to climb the stairs to the uppermost open deck of the 72nd floor, where the city sounds hit you along with gusts of fresh air. Surrounded by fractured plates of glass sliding to a jagged halt, and the open steel carcass soaring several floors above to the ultimate summit, it is a breathtaking sight. 2013, 66 years ago today, 4 black students from North Carolina State University sat down at the whites-only lunch counter inside a Greensboro Woolworth store. Although they were refused service, they stayed until closing. More joined them over the next few days, and sit-ins spread to other North Carolina cities. On July 25, 1960, after losing $200,000 in sales because boycotts were set up, the Greensboro store abandoned its segregation policies. Photo by radio fan via CC license 4 years after the Greensboro Fort Joseph.